Good afternoon, members of the media. Thank you for your attendance at this afternoon's press conference. In 2 days, I will be unveiling the country's next budget. National budgets contain two main components: revenue and expenditure. Last year, in the Progressive Labor Party's reply to the budget delivered in the House of Assembly, I stated the following, and I quote, "Mr. Speaker, one of the most important things required for us to build a sound foundation for growth and to reduce the cost of doing business in Bermuda is the issue of tax reform. Our current system needs reform not only to reduce the cost of doing business and to encourage job growth in Bermuda, but also because our current system of taxation exacerbates inequality, which in turn reduces economic growth. It is our view that we can work with all stakeholders to design a system that enhances Bermuda's global competitiveness and ensures that those who can afford to pay more do pay more. Such a major undertaking cannot and should not be a one-party endeavor, as substantive tax reform must have the widest possible input, and all ideas must be subjected to rigorous scrutiny to avoid unintended consequences. When the Progressive Labor Party is returned to government, one of our first actions will be to create a tax reform commission. This commission will draw participants from both political parties, international business, local business, trade unions, hoteliers, academia, and the Bermuda Bar. Its mission will be to conduct a wholesale review of our system of revenue collection and taxation to make recommendations to Parliament on revenue and tax reform measures to increase compliance. Following the Commission's report, the PLP government will engage in consultation, and following the completion of the consultation, publish a white paper on tax reform to be debated in Parliament. It will be our aim to complete the process of review and consultation in the first 18 months of the new Parliament so that reforms can be implemented quickly." End quote. Following the general election, Parliament passed the Tax Reform Commission Act, which set up the promised Tax Reform Commission. Today, it is my pleasure to introduce the persons who have accepted my request to serve as commissioners to advance this vital issue. These commissioners have a mammoth task ahead of them, but I am confident that they are up to the challenge. As promised, this commission has representation from both political parties and a cross-section of expertise in Bermuda's economy. The commission will be chaired by Mr. Ronald Simmons, a partner at Moore Stephens Butterfield, Chartered Professional Accountants. Chairman Simmons formerly served as a director of the Bermuda Monetary Authority and also on the Council of the Institute of Chartered Professional Accountants of Bermuda. His roles of chairman of the Public Funds Investment Committee, chairman of the Telecommunications Commission, member of the Audit Committee of the Bermuda government, and chairman of the Bermuda Housing Trust gives him a unique insight into government and public finance. Joining Chairman Simmons on the commission will be the Honorable Jean Atherton, JP, MP, Opposition Leader, and Shadow Minister of Finance. The Honorable Wayne Ferbert, JP, MP, Junior Minister of Finance. Mr. Donald Scott, former Secretary to the Cabinet, Head of the Civil Service and Financial Secretary, and Trustee of the Bermuda Public Services Union. Mr. Mitch Blazer, COO of Ironshore, Inc., and CEO of Ironshore, Bermuda. Mr. Craig Simmons, Economics Lecturer at the Bermuda College, and Mr. Brian Holdip, Senior Corporate Lawyer at MJM Limited. This government has demonstrated its willingness to engage in a collaborative process to ensure that collectively we can make progress on issues that for decades have divided us. I trust that this commission will be fair in their work, and I look forward to receiving their report in 6 months. I will now invite Commission Chairman Ronnie Simmons to say a few words. Mr. Chairman.
Good afternoon. I would first of all like to thank the Premier for entrusting me in this role. I am honored and privileged to have been asked to serve on the Tax Reform Commission. The Premier has selected a great team of distinguished individuals, most of whom are here today, and I too would like to thank them for agreeing to serve. Given the numerous risks, uncertainties, and challenges facing our economy, we have a lot of work to accomplish. However, I am confident that we will be able to provide the Premier and the government with recommendations for comprehensive tax reform that is equitable, efficient, effective, transparent, and fair, whilst enhancing Bermuda's global competitiveness. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And now I'm happy to take any questions from the media. Owen.
With the budget coming up in 2 days, obviously, you have it seems like a pretty heavy task of balancing the interests of international business and the less fortunate members of the reading community. How do you plan to accomplish that?
Well, what I will say is that I think the work of the Tax Reform Commission will go a long way in dealing with some of the bigger challenges which we have. As I've mentioned, our system of taxation creates economic inequality by its very nature and structure, and our over-reliance on payroll tax at the same point in time discourages job creation here in Bermuda. So we have to balance those two aspects, and I'm quite certain that this diverse team will be able to look at the matters that we have and will be able to arrive at recommendations which will certainly help Bermuda as we move try to get past that impasse and have broad-based tax reform that encompasses all sectors of Bermudian society.
But of course, that reform will be done for 6 months, so what's going to be done in the meanwhile?
Oh, well, you'll have to come on Friday morning. Mr. Johnson? No? That's all right. You don't have to. I'm just saying.
If there are no more questions.
Okay. Thank you all very much.